Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Bhavna Daya. I am an intuitive channel and well-being speaker. So every month I do an energy update based on what is happening and what is to come in that month. Sometimes there are also messages about what is to come in the coming few months or years. This July energy update has been very interesting. I channeled it a couple of days back, and it took me some time to record this because I was also processing it and seeing if what else was coming through. So in the July energy update, there are very interesting themes. And just before I get into that, if you like the content that you hear, do look at some of the other videos, the energy updates, and also some of the workshops that I've conducted. And if you like that as well, do subscribe to the channel and share it with friends who may need it or who might be interested in the same stuff. So coming to July, July as a month, there is an increase in momentum. Now, some of you might be feeling this, and some of you might be feeling not really getting into or feeling anything, and it might just be just another month. So what is happening is I'm sensing that there is a speeding up of the collective. For those of you who have been on this path, which is energy, working with energies, or the spiritual, the well-being path, and on the path of clearing trauma and going deeper into your own spiritual work, it is a good time you will start to notice that things are starting to open up and there is a sense of accelerated growth. What that also means is to keep in mind not to rush things. There is a difference between accelerated growth and rushing things. The difference is in the mind. When you are rushed, or when you are in a rushed state of mind, your mind is basically saying, I can't be late, I have to do this, I have to do. There's always this rushing kind of energy. Having accelerated growth means that you are ready to take action and to respond, and that you are able to do this because you have a strong and solid foundation that is based on your own sadhana. And by sadhana, I mean a regular spiritual practice that makes you feel elevated. It could be through chanting, it could be through meditation, it could be through mindfulness, it could be through yogic techniques, or a combination of many of these. The first half of this year was a mix of slowing down, and especially between the months of January and February till about the middle of March. And then from the middle of March, we saw till about June, we saw the months and the weeks pass by very quickly. Right? And so July is going to be even faster. And if those of you who have, some of you were part of the halfway through visioning workshop, you would have noticed that this is something I spoke about as well. And so those of you who are part of this workshop, this is the best time to start working through the plan that you made, the visioning exercise that you did, that we did together as part of that workshop. And it's a good time to also implement by taking action on what you decided. So because June was a transition time, it was a bridge between what has happened or took place in the first initial months of this particular year and what needs to be done for the next 6 months. July will not give you time to think or to dwell over something. It is going to be quick action and quick thought and quick decision making, backed by a solid sense of self, a solid sense of spiritual self. So look at what is it that you need to do. So what is July all about? One of the things that is happening is that there is a whirling kind of energy, right? And this is taking place especially in Northern America and particularly in the USA. There is the same swirling energy in Canada and Mexico and other parts of Northern America, American continent, but one can really feel it in the United States of America. Now, this energy can confuse you. It can literally take you by storm, and you might just act out things which you normally wouldn't. So if you are in the US, if any of you who are listening to this are in the US, or you're living and residing there, then make sure that you think before you leap. Yes, the environment can be a cause. Sometimes we feel that it's not me, but it's the environment, right? So yes, the environment can be a cause also, because there is a lot of the political atmosphere and social change is gathering and gaining momentum at this time. And it will continue to gain momentum over the next 3 to 4 years till about 2027. In towards 2027, things will start to settle down. But in these 4 or 5 years, a lot of changes are going to happen, political changes around and towards 2025, 2026, legislative changes, and many other social changes as well, which will be guided by the people. So what each person does and what action that they take, whether it is about whether you're speaking, when you're speaking out or you're not speaking out, or whether it is actual action that you're taking, right? Because anything that we do, it is thought, word, speech. So even our thoughts create karmic bonds. Even our what we say creates karma, what actions we take. So it's not just action, it is thought, word, and action. So whether whatever you are thinking, speaking, and doing, it will tilt the outcome for the US collectively. So if you can add to it, add what brings calmness, add calmness within your own self, making sure that whenever you're looking at any conversation, or when you're meeting or you're talking to people, or there is a gathering of people, before you share something, before you take action on something, ask yourself, will this bring peace and joy to the people, to the conversation, or not? And if it doesn't, then maybe it's better not to speak, or maybe it's better not to take action, right? So, and what is also happening is the US is going through a very interesting time. And this is just the beginning, because it is beginning. What is beginning to happen is around December 2020 and October 2026. That is when most of this is going to be, that churning is going to be happening within the US. Now the people of America are the ones who will be able to maintain some sanity. Of course, there will be a section of society that will be creating the necessary momentum for it to occur, and there have to be a group of people who create that, and that is important. All of this has been some time in the making, and a group of people who, let's say, who are pioneers, or the ones who are creating that change, that revolution in many ways. And then there's also another group of people, which is the larger majority, who are going through their own spiritual uh, changes, upheavals, and practices. And so through your own personal practices, that you will be able to maintain that calmness and the sanctity of human life. And so, without listening to the political leaders, what they're saying, or what the political agenda is, or the medical agenda is, you will be able to create that sense of calm within your own self. And this will be required more than ever. So, your responsibility, if you are a spiritual person, if you're a light worker, or somebody who's working in the space of well being, whether it is sports well being, whether it is in the corporate well-being space, or you're an entrepreneur who is who has their own setup of well-being or wellness, or even if you're working with angels and energies, right? All of you have that responsibility to hold and safeguard the peace and the calmness of the land of America. People who are trained in shamanic work, and who work with the 5 elements of nature, this is going to be the most important of your time. Native Americans, this is going to be your time, that how you show up in your own energy, in your own essence. So and it doesn't have to be in the forefront, but by staying in the background, how you show up, how you contain this energy, how you provide a scaffolding to all of those people, will decide what is to come with the people of America. Now, coming to Europe and different European nations are going going to be will be um, going through a different wave of relationships and peacekeeping. The foundation of justice here for a lot of countries in Europe too will is something that or the countries are figuring out, and they will be and it is also a time that they need to figure out what is really justice, what do they stand for, what do the people want, right? So there is this identity shift that is taking place, if we if we can call it that. Again, the energy workers and people who are trained in shamanism, who are light workers, all of the people in Europe, this is going to be your work, right? And so when you're doing the work of for others, all of that sadhana will be for the sadhana of the collective or collective people of Europe, right? So it is your responsibility that you are responsible for your sadhana, for your own inner discipline, because when you are going to be in discipline, when your sadhana is going to be consistent, it is going to keep the waters calm in Europe, right? Now, the next message was for India and what is to come for the Indian subcontinent. Now, in this Indian subcontinent, it is also going through seismic shifts. And when I look at literally the earth is shifting and moving below the Indian subcontinent, right? And the ocean floor is moving and rearranging itself and doing, but it's happening very, very subtly. And over the next few years, this will come into news and we will hear about how the ocean plates and the earth below India and the Indian subcontinent is moving and what is really taking place. Now, in the Indian subcontinent, there is a lot that will be happening, and the world's focus is going to be this particular section of this particular geography, right? So whether it is Pakistan, whether it is India, whether it is Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, parts of Afghanistan, parts of Iran, and parts of Burma, all of these countries are going to be the focal points of attention of the world. People of the Western world and other countries are going to really look at, we will be looking up to how the changes will be taking place in this in the Indian subcontinent, and what does that mean for them, right? And out of all these countries, India is going to be holding that strong spiritual foundation, and the spiritual energy is going to rise even more within India. So those of you who are doing this work, make sure that you bring in purity of intention to your work. Do not let anybody else guide you, right? Do not let anything else guide you but your own intuition, your own inner light. Now, this is for people specifically who are physically in India and they're either living here or they are residing here. You could be of any background, but those of you who are here physically residing and have made India your home, this is for all of you, right? So even if you're following, you have a mentor, you have gurus, make sure that you are standing in your own conviction. The change that is going to be taking place in India is a big shift that is happening at one level. And all the people who are in the spiritual practice, again, intuitives, energy workers, mental, emotional well-being space, all of you are being called and forced to really look at what is guiding you. So is the external guiding you? Is the external form, external guru, external person, external energy guiding you? Or what? Or there is something internal guiding you, right? Because what your internal is and how much you cultivate your own internal being is what is going to add to the changes that are taking place in India and that will continue to take place in India. So, if I were to just look at what is happening between the US, the light workers in US, Europe, and India. So as, of course, collectively, I have been sharing this from 2020, that people who are in the spiritual work, spiritual field, or angelic world, or energy workers, or Reiki healers, any kind of modality of healing or emotional and mental well-being or physical well-being, all of us are being put in positions, or we are put in situations where we have to get out of our comfort zone. We have to really cultivate and become more disciplined in our sadhana and also our spiritual practice, right? So that has been happening from 2020. This period of July onwards, what the focus for the ones in America, what is happening there, because of the lot of political and geopolitical and also financial changes, medical changes that are going to be taking place. It is very important that people with the shamanic background, Native Americans and light workers and energy workers, that are holding space for all of them. So how the more work that you do, the more positive effects it will have for the US, right? And those of you who are in Europe, and so what you are being asked to do is that whatever you are doing for others and you're doing for yourself there will be a ripple effect in the collective. Right now in India, what is being happening? The question is about purity of intention. And are you reflecting on the outer world or the inner world? We might be a light worker, we might be doing energy healing, but our focus is outward. Now, what does that mean? That means that I look at, yes, I'm doing it, but I need somebody else's support. Yes, I'm doing whatever, but only when somebody else will guide me, or when an external person or entity is going to tell me, that's when I know I will have the confidence, or that's when I will know that yes, I can do this, or I can work with somebody, or I can help others. And also the purity of intention. So many, what will also happen that there will be revealing of the wrongdoings of many gurus as well. It may not be as sensational as it was in the past, but a lot of things will come to light of what the purity of intention of these gurus, of these masters is. And hence, all the people who are in this field, in this work, your purity of intention is really going to come, you will come face to face with that. And you can only create the ripple effect when you have the purity of intention for your life. When you're doing the sadhana, when you are working your spiritual aspects because you want world peace, because you want people to raise their own vibration, because you really truly want people to all the differences to start to shift and move away. And so that is the difference between the work of energy workers across the three different areas that I was guided by, right? So the change that is going to take place in India is a big shift, like I said. Yeah, okay, I'll share this. So at this moment, July, August, and some part of September, these 90 days are very crucial for people, and this is specific to India. It is very crucial for people who know that they can do more. So if you know that you have the spiritual resilience, build it even more, because it is going to be required not for you, but it will be required for other people who are not spiritually resilient. So the connection, the ripple effect is going to become very quick. It will not take minutes or hours, it'll take split seconds, very, very fast. So the more spiritually resilient you become, it'll have a positive effect for everybody else, whether you know them or you don't know them, because energy travels, right? And sorry, I'm just looking at my notes so that I don't miss out on anything. So people who have that capability, right? People who you personally know that you have what your capability is, build on your spiritual resilience more. Stop doubting yourself, because the spiritual resilience is, like I said, it's for others, for the people of India and the people of the Indian subcontinent. So you must get even more sharper, even more disciplined about your spiritual practice or practices. A lot of the spiritual community is going to be called to also pay attention to physical resilience. And so now is the time to combine both of them, the spiritual resilience and physical resilience. Another point is that emotions are going to start working and running high. We've already moved into the moon, strong moon energy in from Cancer onwards. And this full moon that is going to be coming in July is very, very strong. And I'm going to talk about that. There will be a full moon meditation that I will be doing with special practices to cultivate that energy for, especially as a light worker and as a spiritual worker, right? So what is happening is that with Cancer and with the sun energy coming up to its peak in Leo, emotions are going to be running very high. So remember that over the next 6 months, there might be emotion, there might be not, when I say emotions running high, there won't be not necessarily only anger or negative emotions, all kind of emotions, right? So be watchful and careful. So it's not the mercurial tendency that you will have, but there would just be a lot of emotion. So why I'm sharing this, because there will be in the atmosphere, in the environment, there will be a lot of emotion. So you have to make sure and also check if you're feeling the overwhelm, is it your overwhelm or is it the overwhelm of what you're feeling in the environment, right? It's very important that we start to look at that, what I said, the spiritual resilience along the physical resilience, right? So be watchful and be careful. Don't overindulge in your emotions. Take a pause, step back, recognize what are you doing and what is it that you need, right? You will also not every emotion needs to be dealt with. Not every emotion needs to be dissected and understood. Sometimes it might just be okay to take a pause and say, oh, okay, this is happening, fine, let it go, and I'm going to move forward, right? So what else can help? Chanting mantras is going to be very useful, because when you chant mantras, the sound energy permeates the physical space that we are in, right? And sound waves travel much wider across. And it is an effective way to change the energy fields even more around you and in your country. So anybody who's in case you are from the Indian subcontinent and listening to this July energy update, it is also relevant for you. Not just, so all of this is not just for India, but people in the Indian subcontinent, right? And and what it will also help the community that you are part of, right? So I would, one of the recommendations that had come through, and it's not a religious mantra, because the vibration of any mantra is beyond that religion, right? So but what did come to me and some of you might be feeling this, is a lot of the Shiv energies coming through, right? And when I say Shiv energy, it's not of destruction, but cultivating that, again, physical and emotional and spiritual resilience, right? Because that's the resilience that Shiva, the Hindu god, has. So you can play any of the Shiv mantras. It can be simply Om Namah Shivaya. It can be uh, Om, the Shivji's Arti. It can be the Mrityunjay mantra, any of that, whatever you feel called. And you can change these mantras. It's not that you have to recite the same one throughout the next 90 days, but you can chant any mantra. So just to sum up, a couple of things that I would like to share. So energy workers, light healers, people in the well-being space, wherever you are needed very much in this time, especially for the next 90 days. Things are speeding up very fast. All of you are going to be holding that energy, and you will be able to change and shift energies into more calming energies and calming effects, because of your own spiritual resilience, because of your inner work that you are doing. The second thing is, people with shamanistic practices, if you work with the 5 elements, you will be intuitively be called to do a lot more work. Listen to that. The third is, because of the moon energy and the rise in sun energy as well, it is not necessary that we pay attention to each of the emotions. Sometimes it might be useful to just take a pause and step back and just be witness to it, and let it pass whatever needs to come. The next couple of years, a lot of changes are happening. So whatever we cultivate in these 6 months, and that's a lot of that was what the halfway through visioning workshop was that I did in that I had conducted in June. So if you are so whatever you do in these 6 months, is the ripple effect is going to be seen not just for you, but for people around you, for your country, for the land that you're part of, over the next 3 to 4 years. So make the most of these next 6 months. July will go with a blink of an eye. So make sure if you're getting some messages, you're taking action. If you need to do something, take action. You might be wondering, where is the time going? But as long as you keep that inner discipline and spiritual discipline, you will be able to make the most of this time. Right? So that was the July energy update. Let me know what resonated with you most. Let me know what more you would like to hear about. And those of you who couldn't be part of the live workshop, if you would like a recording of the halfway through visioning workshop, reach out to me. There are notes, and there is you can listen to the recording and you can do the steps by yourself in a self-paced mode. There is, as if you are part of the halfway through visioning workshop, you will also be part. You get 2 follow-up sessions, free accountability sessions. The first one is going to be in July. The second one is going to be in August. So I will be there to hold you and help you for these 3 months. And once you are through July and August, you'll be able to tide over and make space for what you need to do for the rest of the year. So thank you so much for listening to the end. If you feel that somebody might find this helpful, share it with them, and to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And those of you who have subscribed to my channel, let me know what else you might want me to do or make videos on. I would love to hear from you. Thank you, and make the most of July and the rest of the year.